Today on Missing Live, this 15-year-old girl is at a payphone at a crowded station in London.
She's calling her mum 400 miles away in Scotland to tell her she's not coming home.
Sasha has just become one of the 100,000 teenagers reported missing each year in the UK. This is Missing Live. Good morning. It's Thursday, the 15th of May. Overnight, 3 more people that we featured on this programme have been found. More on how and who later. And there are just 2 days left for you to help find some of the UK's missing people. Because of your calls, families have been reunited all over the country. If you have any information on any of the cases we show, please pick up the phone. Missing people's number is 0500 700 700. It could be your call that brings someone home. For the past 4 weeks, we've been trying to bring families back together again, and it's staggering the amount of young people who go missing. Andrew's here for Missing People. Have you got any news on the teenagers that we've shown?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm glad to say that Tamara Clark has been found.
Good news on her, isn't there?
Yeah,
she's been
fantastic.
found.
Yeah. So if you remember, she was missing from Plymouth.
Yeah, and we showed the CCTV of her before, I remember that. She's just 13, and that's why the police were so concerned about her, that were dealing with her case. So it's brilliant that she's been found and reunited. Absolutely. Anything else for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Phoenix Barnes as well. I think you remember him. He was the 2-year-old, missing with his parental guardian. Yeah, he's been found too. And
again, that's another police case. Islington CID were dealing with that one. Even though it was a Met job, they were liaising with the Merseyside police. So that's fantastic news that both of those children and young people are back safe and well. So brilliant. We're talking to you later on, Andrew, so if you've got anything else for us, keep us updated as we go through the programme.
I will do,
and we'll be talking to you then. And of course, if you can help with any of our cases today, then please call Missing People, and the number's on your screen now. And coming up in about 15 minutes, a family reunited. Suzanne had been looking for her favourite brother, Stuart. What she didn't know was that he'd had a stroke and couldn't tell anyone she even existed. Now, finding Sasha. She told her mum she's not coming home, but this teenager can't stay one step ahead of the police for long.
London's a magnet for teenage runaways. Hundreds make their way here from all over the country every year. 15-year-old Sasha Martin is one of them. On October the 12th last year, she disappears from her home in Scotland. 3 days later, she's captured on CCTV at a busy station in London, over 400 miles away. Sasha's home is in Pennycuick, on the outskirts of Edinburgh.
Sasha was always a cheeky little girl, but she was always bright with it, do you know what I mean? Really, really friendly with everybody. She was a bit of a handful, but it was a handful realising she's a teenager, I've been a teenager, and things, you know, you just got to go along with whatever they do.
Although Sasha lives in care, her mum's in daily contact, until one day, just 9 months ago.
I phoned up the unit at 5:15 and I talked to a care worker on the phone. He said, I'll just go and get her for you, she'll phone you back in a few minutes. I asked her if she wanted to come up for a tea, because she'd been up for a tea every night for the last 3 weeks. And he said, I'll get her to phone you back in a few minutes. Well, I never got that call. That call come at 10:15 at night, and that was when they told me that they felt Sasha had ran away.
She's reported missing to Lothian and Borders Police. Officer Alan McLean knows 15-year-old Sasha and her family.
There has been, I think, a build-up to Sasha going away. She had been missing on a number of occasions before, quite sort of short-term disappearances from her home address. Certainly there was a degree of preparation prior to her disappearance on this occasion, whereby she had collected some personal effects and taken them ready to go. However, she's not taken them with her, so tend to indicate that maybe she's left in a particular hurry.
There's no news for 3 days. Then, on October the 15th, Sasha finally makes contact.
2 o'clock that afternoon, we got that call off Sasha. The call wasn't withheld. It was a 30-second call, and all she said was, "Mum, I'm happy, I'm safe, but I'm not coming home."
The police managed to trace the call. It was made from a payphone at Liverpool Street Station in central London. Still to come on Missing Live, Sasha is seen on CCTV making that phone call to her mum. And we'll be hearing more on the search for Sasha a little later and how she is found. It's a story that will give hope to any parent whose child has run away. Are you a teenager missing from home? If so, you can call the Runaway helpline just to send a message home. It is confidential. The number you're calling can't be traced, so please call. It's 0808 800 70 70, just to let people know that you're OK.
Your help's needed now to find 22-year-old Paul Carter. Paul's from Birmingham, has been missing since 21st of April 2007. He was last seen on a ferry crossing from Portsmouth to Saint-Malo in Brittany, France. He's 5'9" tall, slim and has dark brown hair. He also has a tattoo of a snake on his right arm. If you think you have any idea where Paul may be, then please call Missing People. The number is on your screen now.
Now, looking for Amy, the 16-year-old has been missing since New Year's Day this year. She'd been babysitting and vanished on the way home. Now, she lives with her family near Marbella in Spain. Amy's mum, Audrey, and stepfather, Dave, have flown in to be with us here this morning. Morning to you both. Thanks for coming here. Audrey, let's just take you back to what happened. She'd gone babysitting, hadn't she, on New Year's Eve?
She was babysitting New Year's Eve, rang me at 12 o'clock to say Happy New Year. See you tomorrow. That was all fine. The next day she stayed because up half the night on the computer, the usual. They don't get up till the afternoon. So it was the next evening that she walked home, about 10 o'clock that night, but she never got there.
When did you start to worry then? Dave, when did you start worrying?
Well, we actually thought she was going to stay another night, which wouldn't be unusual. So we didn't,
without letting us know.
We didn't really worry till
the following evening.
The following evening, till we rang Ashley. And as she said, she made arrangements. She walked home at 10 o'clock that night. She made arrangements to see her at 6 o'clock the following evening. Then we contacted the police.
So she'd been gone missing actually for some time before you actually...
Yeah, before we actually knew, yeah. We just thought she was still up at the house.
Yeah, so she's not gone missing for a length of time before, but as you say, she'd overstayed or not let you know that she was coming
well, it was
home.
just the usual. Then when I saw her that she wasn't there the next day, it was one of these, well, she's after doing it again. She stayed over without letting us know. Okay. So it wasn't a major thing. Till the next evening when I was thinking, well, she's, messing around now. We have to phone. And she said, no, she had walked home the previous evening.
Now, this obviously happened in Spain. So why is it you're here? Why do you need help from people who are here?
We live in a very large English community. They get up in the morning and go to buy their newspaper like everybody else does. And there's nothing in the paper about it. So a lot of people still don't know, even though it's 4.5 months now. And they still don't know about it. And that's the main reason for this. A lot of people in Spain watch this programme. Okay. We watch it every day.
It's all over the Irish news, it's all over the Spanish news.
Right.
Our community is mostly British expats that buy the newspapers.
OK, and just tell us a little bit about what she's like and what she was like as a little girl as well.
Drama queen, big time. As a teenager, she loves acting, and that's why even the video, that's what she is. That's the way she goes on. She's just a normal teenager.
And there's a little girl, she was the same, or she was very vivacious?
Yeah, she loves the limelight. She loves acting, and if she's not talking, she's singing.
Right. So she had lots of friends. She's got lots of friends out where you are in Spain, has she?
Yeah, she's a lot of friends, yeah.
And what about any leads, any ideas of where she may have gone to? How's it going?
No, at the beginning the police thought she was a runaway. They don't think she's a runaway now because it's 4.5 months.
Right.
So they've no leads, nothing at all, absolutely nothing.
And have you noticed that there's been a difference now that they're treating it not as a runaway case as well?
Oh, they have said themselves they're not treating it as a runaway. They're definitely not.
Even 2 weeks ago, the police done another search with the helicopters, the sniffer dogs. They've done it from day one, and they're still continuing to do it.
And I know as well, you're sort of doing stuff on the internet as well, aren't you?
I have to say a lot of that is because I'm not great with a computer, but a lot of that is family and our friends in Spain, in England and in Ireland have set up sites, and they've all them, Facebook, Bebo, everything. They've done all that set up for her.
So it's not just people living there, also over the summer as well, people will be going to Spain and over
holidays,
the last few weeks as well.
Well, especially now, this time of year, where apartments may have been locked up for the winter and people are only starting to come down again now. So it's those people as well that will be able to keep a lookout.
Yeah. And how are you coping? Because it's been a long time now. You must be really worried.
Well, it's just doing stuff like this.
And you're going straight.
Leaflets.
You're going straight from here as well to Ireland as well, aren't you?
Yeah, the main show in Ireland, the Late Late Show. We're there tomorrow night, and then back to Spain on Saturday, and then next week the main Spanish television down there, do them again.
OK, well, listen, best of luck with your search. Thank you very much for that. As it is a Spanish investigation, as they're just mentioning, if you have any information on where Amy might be, please email us at missing.live@bbc.co.uk. And then what we'll do is pass it on to the Spanish authorities. Or, of course, you can call Missing People on 0500 700 700. Their number is on your screen now.
Now, they've been together for 14 years. Then just 10 weeks ago, he vanished. Now she walks the streets, searching for the man she loves.
West Midlands Police are in Wolverhampton doing house-to-house inquiries. They're searching for Robbie Smith, who hasn't been seen for nearly 10 weeks.
Well, Robbie's been missing since about the 6th of March now. Since then, we've started the process of trying to find Robbie, searching his work, obviously speaking to his friends, some of his local haunts, and at the moment, we've got nowhere with that at all.
We're just doing a few inquiries regarding a missing person who's known to the area. That's a gentleman there, and he's known to be in possession of that sports bag. Seen anything of you? No, nothing at all? OK, brilliant. Thanks very much for your time, mate. Cheers.
Robbie's a hard-working man. He works for a local rail company. He's been with his present partner for quite a number of years. Quite a private person, but having said that, drinks locally at some of the same pubs he has done for some considerable time.
Robbie's local is in the centre of town.
This is the Moon Under the Water pub. This is where Robbie liked to drink with Janice. We've been revisiting it to see if Robbie's materialised here, but as I say, unfortunately, sadly no, he hasn't been seen.
120 miles away, Robbie's fiancée Janice arrives in Blackpool with a friend to do their own search. Robbie loves the holiday town and she thinks he might have headed here.
I can remember the one day, going along the pier, and the weather was really bad and it was all creaking and everything. And he says, come on, get off. Like, things like that stick in your memory. I met Robbie in 1994 and we went out for a meal, had a few drinks. Never looked back. Been with Robbie 14 years on his birthday, the 7th of June. We've been abroad, we've been to Jerusalem, we love Benidorm, things like this. We love the countryside. On a day like this, we'll be out in the country, having a bit of a meal and a few drinks. Just enjoying life, basically.
As Robbie and Janice often visit Blackpool, she's hoping someone might have spotted him.
My partner's gone missing.
OK.
He's been missing for about 5 weeks now. It's a mystery, basically, and we're just wondering whether, this is a pub that we use regularly when we come to Blackpool. Have you seen him in here lately, or...?
I'm afraid I haven't. I've not seen this particular person before now.
No.
But I will put it up and I'll ask all my staff if they've seen him as well.
2 years ago, Robbie was diagnosed with cancer. He is now in remission, but Janice knows it's important he still attends regular hospital appointments.
I wonder if you can help me in any ways as regards putting this poster up no problem. To see whether anybody can recognise him or anything like that. I can't understand why Robbie would do such a thing. I can't understand why all of a sudden the disappearance with no explanation.
Janice and Robbie have been inseparable for years. She's struggling without him.
I miss his personality, his laughter, the jokes. We did so much together, absolutely so much together. I'm at a loss, basically.
The fact that Robbie's gone missing and his illness as well, we're obviously very, very worried about him and urge anybody that's got any form of information that could assist us to try and find him, please let us know. There are a lot of people concerned about Robbie.
Every day I hope somewhere along the line that this might be the day that it comes home.
if you have any idea where Robbie might be or can help in any way, then please call Missing People. The number is 0500 700 700. Remember, calls from landlines are free, but mobiles may vary.
Now, Andrew, from Missing People, let's get a couple of updates as well on Stephen Hadley. He's 27, went missing from Warsaw. We've had quite a lot of calls, haven't we?
Yeah, we've had about 40 calls so far, and some good potential sightings. You know, we still need more people to call in. But yeah, it's...
and where are those sightings? Are they in a sort of specific area?
We've had a number around the Devon and Cornwall area, so, you know, that's potentially quite interesting. All the sightings have been passed on to the police.
And they'll be following those up.
Yeah.
Also, Danny Hall, we were speaking to his friend on the programme yesterday. He was last seen, wasn't he, in Thailand in February of this year? Yeah,
he was last seen just after a full moon party in Koh Phangan Island, just off Thailand, and we haven't received any calls yet, but, you know...
So very important if somebody's been out to Thailand or around a similar time, 25th of February he was there, and that they call in if they've got any information. Yeah, family and friends are desperate for news, so if anyone's got any info, it'd be fantastic. OK, all right, no calls so far on Danny Hall, so if you do anything, that's really important. And if you think you've seen any of these people, please call. The number is on your screen for you right now.
Sergeant Dave Brewster from the Met Police is with us now with some more good news. Dave, what's this then?
Rodney Holdham, who was featured on the show last week, I believe, he turned up yesterday, and as a result of the TV programme, his dad has been in touch, and they haven't seen each other for 15 years.
You know, that's fantastic news, isn't it? You've got a double whammy, if you like.
Yes, they're going to get back together, yeah.
I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. We couldn't ask for more than that. Not only has he been found, but his dad, who's been separated for this amount of time, has actually got in contact as a direct result of this programme.
Absolutely.
And I understand he was just watching it and recognised his son. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And I spoke to him yesterday, and they were due to call each other yesterday afternoon. So hopefully that happened.
That's a fantastic result there. Now, what else have you got for us today?
Julian McAndrew. We're interested in finding this chap. He's been missing since December 2005.
Right.
He's a US national.
Okay.
He was living in London, and he was due to fly back to New York for a week around December 2005. We've got no information that he ever left the country, or indeed whether he actually arrived in New York.
OK. So, in order to do your checks, have you liaised with the American authorities?
Yeah, we've been in touch with the US Embassy and the FBI, and they've run some searches for us. But strangely, they can't find any trace of Julian McAndrew with those details ever having a US passport.
Now, to me, and in my experience, that looks like he could be known as someone completely different.
It's quite possible that he was known as something else, or he may have a different date of birth.
So if we just have a look at his picture again, he's quite sort of a striking fella, isn't he? So people would know him, you know, from this picture. If they know him, they'll know him.
That's
so
absolutely.
Under whatever name, let's get him to get in contact with you and let us know who he is and if he's safe and well. I guess is the main thing, isn't it?
Yes.
OK then, Dave. We'll keep us updated on that and let us know how you get on. Of course, if you think you know where Julian is, then please contact the Met Police, and their number is 0207 275 3402.
He's her favourite brother, but for years she didn't know where Stuart was or how to get in contact. But now she's found him. This is how Stuart and Suzanne were reunited.
When Suzanne Seymour's daughter died 8 years ago, she was left alone.
She was born with a very bad skin disorder, and since she died, I've been lost. Nobody to look after. I was on my own, apart from these lot. And then you get the days where you don't want to get out of bed.
Suzanne's family is from the rural northeast. She's always been close to her older brother, Stuart.
It was Stuart that taught me to ride my first bike, and Stuart that took me new pram to bits to build a bogie. Everywhere he went, he had to train me. All of our lives have been close.
When their parents retire, Stuart moves with them to Bradford, over 100 miles away.
After Mum and Dad died, Stuart stayed on at Bradford, and I used to write to him, and then I was writing and not getting a reply, and writing and not getting a reply.
Suzanne doesn't know, but her brother Stuart is ill and isn't able to tell doctors about his family.
One of the carers or one of the workers there had seen photographs of me on Stuart's wall, so she set about tracing me, finding me.
The search for Stuart's relatives starts with the Salvation Army.
This is a copy of the form that was sent in by Stuart to look for his sister. And as you can see, it just simply says the name on the top, her date of birth and the last known address. The main part was that the date of birth was there. That was helpful. The last known address was helpful.
The Salvation Army sent me a letter. We're looking for Suzanne Seymour, and with the date of birth and the last known address that Stuart knew. Is this you? So within half an hour of getting that letter, I was on the phone and Stuart was crying and I was crying. And then he said, can I come home? I said, yep. Get you next week.
This brother and sister are reunited. Stuart now lives with Suzanne and she looks after him full time.
I just thought he's out there on his own. He's had a stroke, he's got nobody. But I've always, with having Joanne, always looked after somebody. And now I look after him and he keeps me right. But he's looking better, he's talking better. And we've had a couple of games of chess, and the first time in how many years? Oh, about 40 years. I beat him.
Just a few months ago, Stuart wasn't even able to get out of bed. Now he's well on the road to recovery.
Yeah, but it's been great having him home, and he's picking up. And he's getting better every day, getting stronger. I'd him if he'd lost me over there.
Brilliant story, brilliant.
Yeah. Now, listen, throughout the series, you've been sending us your reunited stories. Got a nice one for you now. Diane Wakefield's husband was adopted in 1943. He knew nothing about his two brothers, Tony and David, until 2006. He's now met David, and Tony lives in Thailand and has been a little bit unwell, but they're hoping to meet soon.
Another one as well. My wife, Diane Ives, she was adopted at 6 weeks old back in 1953. She was united with her birth parents and 6 siblings that she never knew she had. That was in 1991. They'd emigrated to the United States in 1957. They're all very close and they keep in regular contact.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Lovely. If you'd like to share your story with us, you can email us at missing.live@bbc.co.uk, or you can write to us as well if you want to. Missing Live, PO Box 63814, London N1 1HF. That's Missing Live, PO Box 63814, London N1 1HF. Now, there are only a couple of days left in this series, but we'll save all of your stories and your thoughts for when we're back next spring.
Now, your help is needed to find 30-year-old Abdul Faye from Rochdale, here he is, who disappeared on the 10th of March. He was last seen about 5 p.m. at Birch Hills Hospital in Rochdale, where he was a voluntary patient. He then vanished and he was wearing a black tracksuit at the time. If you have any idea where he may be, then please call Greater Manchester Police on 0161 856 4638. Local call rates apply.
A mum has wrapped a birthday present for her son every year he's been missing. So far, 13 gifts await his return.
Marcus Rigby comes from the Lake District. As a teenager, he experiments with recreational drugs, which affect him badly. At 19, doctors prescribe him medication to control his paranoia. By his mid-20s, Marcus wants to put his problems behind him.
He decided to go to Bible school. He started in March 1994 and went through to the end of that summer term.
Marcus's doctors want him to continue treatment while he's studying. But after 7 years on the drugs, he makes the decision to stop.
It was at that stage that I think he also became almost too confident and he started to move away from the medication.
I was quite worried about it because the sort of things he was on, you can't just stop, you have to be weaned off slowly because they're quite powerful drugs, really. So he just stopped taking it.
After just a few months without his medication, Marcus's symptoms start to return. His family hardly hear from him.
He said he wanted to go off and sort himself out, he wanted to find work, he wanted to make a new start, and those are all very positive things. But at the same time, we were concerned because, he hadn't been particularly happy before he left. He was troubled by something again.
When his mum goes to see him at college, Marcus tells her that he's decided to go away.
He was quite closed, I suppose, and we only had a very brief conversation, and me just asking where he was going and him not choosing to tell me. But just before we did part, I said to him, can I give you a hug? And there was a look of pain, but he didn't say anything, and I did give him a hug. But he just turned and went back into the building. He turned up at my sister's house in the south of England, and he spent a couple of days with her, from which he hitched on to Weymouth in Dorset, and that really is the last recorded place we've got for him.
After months with no contact, his mum turns to the police for help.
Soon after I registered him as missing, a bank statement came for him to our home address, which I opened, and there was a cheque had gone through the account. So the bank manager got a copy of the cheque, and there was an address on the back.
Dorset police are asked to follow up that lead to Weymouth.
But when they went to do a discreet inquiry, just to check if he was living there, he'd moved on the week before, so we just missed the contact.
The search goes on for Marcus, and it's 6 years before his family get any news.
There were a few sightings of him in Southampton which came from reliable sources. One was a guy, I think about Mark's age, who had actually spent time, he said he'd spent time with Mark, and that Mark had changed his name. Still Mark, but he changed his surname to Smith. He said he'd known Mark for a period of time, but that had been in a few months in the past. When the police followed it up, he'd moved on.
Marcus is now 40. Although his family has had no contact with him for 13 years, he's still in their thoughts.
I buy a present every birthday and Christmas for him. That was 1999, his birthday present. I think it's a jumper, probably. It's this one, a pair of socks, I think. My dear son Mark, on your 29th birthday. So that's 1996. It's very poignant, really. I usually feel quite upset. You know, because you miss that person so much. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's really bad news.
And Marcus's mum, who you saw just there, Mary, is here with us this morning. Morning to you.
Good morning.
And you've brought with you some of those presents that you've bought over the years. Particularly poignant, I guess, because last year we got one there that's for his 40th birthday, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Did you buy something special that year?
I did, yes. Normally I don't spend a great deal on them, but I bought him an iPod last year because it was his 40th.
And is that important for you to mark it every year, his birthday and Christmas for him?
Yes, it is, because it's just as though it's just a gesture, even though he's not there to see it, that I care, you see.
Mm. And one day you really believe that he's going to be able to open all those presents, don't you?
I do, absolutely, yes.
OK. Let's just go back to the time when he originally went missing, because you'd been to collect his stuff from college, hadn't you? Did you have any indication that he was going to go?
He just told me that he was going to leave the area, and I asked him where he was going, but he wouldn't tell me. He just said, I'll ring you in a week, but the call never came, so...
Why do you think that was?
I don't know. I can't come up with any answers on that.
And I know that over the years that you have had various appeals, haven't you? And on one of the particular times, information did come in, didn't it?
Yes.
Where was it? Was he seen somewhere?
He was seen last year in Weymouth in Dorset, and that was a particularly good sighting, which we tried to follow up, and it was in the hands of the police, of course. And they really, everything drew a blank, because you can get so far, but until we have a location for this man, who somebody thought was him, I can't take it any further.
Yes, and that was quite a strong sighting. It was after the last series of missing, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
So other people who would have saw... It was Weymouth, last year that he was...
That's
this
right.
person saw him. So anybody who was living in that area, you'd like to sort of
definitely,
think
yes.
back.
If they could, look at the pictures.
Also, some people seem to think that he may have changed his name. What do you know about that, or what can you guess?
A few years ago, there was an appeal, and one man rang in and said that he knew him, that he'd moved to Southampton and changed his name to Mark Smith. And it seemed like a really genuine call, because this guy said, if you find him, will you give him my number and ask him to get in touch? So that seemed very positive again, but we drew a blank trying to follow it up.
But actually, kind of, I suppose, positive also in that he is making friends, isn't he?
Yes, evidently.
He's very striking. He's got very striking eyes, hasn't he? So if people see him, is he very recognisable?
I would say he won't look any different from the photos that you have.
What do you think he might be doing? What was he interested in?
Well, he was quite artistic, and he used to draw and do pottery, but he was very good with IT things, so anything along those lines, perhaps, you know.
And 13 years on, it's such a long time, isn't it? So what would you say to him about if he feels, I don't know, embarrassed about getting in touch, or what would you say?
I would say don't let anything stop you, because, you know, the welcome and the love is all waiting for him.
OK, Mary, thank you. And all those presents as well.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks very much. And if you think you have seen Marcus or can help in any way to bring him home, please call Missing People. The number is 0500 700 700. Calls from landlines are free. Mobile charges may vary.
Andrew's still with us. What's the latest you got for us now?
OK, we've Paige Chivers.
Paige Chivers, now she's the 16-year-old from Blackpool, isn't she, with that distinctive Playboy bunny tattoo on her neck.
Yeah.
What sort of response have you had on her?
Well, we've had about 13 calls yesterday, which brings the total up to about 20 so
Which is
far.
brilliant. Obviously struck a chord with a lot of people there, perhaps due to her age, which is good news. Anything else, very quickly?
Yeah, we've had about 4 calls now on Robbie Smith, who's shown today.
Right, OK, so that's something just coming in. And also Malcolm Leaves, who we've shown before. I understand you're getting some calls on him as well.
Yeah, we've had 4 calls on him so far. Family desperate for news, so...
Not the greatest response, but at least 4's better than no calls. I understand we've got some CCTV of him, who may or may not be him, of course. And if it isn't him, if it isn't Malcolm, then who is it? And if that's one of our viewers, then please get in touch and let us know who that is. All right, Andrew, we'll be talking to you later on. Keep us updated through the programme.
Sure.
If you think you've seen any of these people, though, please call Missing People. The number's on your screen now.
Let's take you back now to the search for Sasha Martin. Police find the payphone she called her mother from. Just how close are they to finding her?
Although she speaks to her mum every day, 15-year-old Sasha Martin is living in care near Edinburgh. When her mum calls to talk to her on October the 12th last year, she isn't there. Sasha has run away. 3 days later, she phones her mum saying she's safe but not coming home. The call is traced to a payphone at Liverpool Street Station in London. Police examine hundreds of hours of CCTV footage. Eventually, they find Sasha in the crowds making that call to her mum back in Scotland. Investigating officers travelled to London to try and find her.
I'm just coming up to a bank of public payphones on our left-hand side, and we're aware that Sasha made a call from these phones on the 15th of October back home. She then continued throughout the station towards the underground area, and at the time she would appear to be in the company of another female. She's aged in her 20s, slim build, approximately 5'5", and she's got dirty blonde hair. She went into the underground area and came back out again, still in the company of this other female, and we last seen her in the vicinity of the Burger King restaurant. Unfortunately, that's the last sighting, confirmed sighting that we have. That was the 15th of October.
No one knows who Sasha's with and how she's surviving in London.
She's 15. Obviously, anybody who's in a strange city, 15 years of age. We've great concerns for it, as have our family, but we just have to keep a very open mind. We know she has family in the London area, but not in London itself, but we really just don't know where she is, and obviously we're very concerned for her well-being.
After a newspaper appeal, there's a second sighting of Sasha at another busy station. This time, it's Waterloo.
A member of the public that called in said that she saw Sasha in the area of the information boards. She described Sasha as wearing a dark coat, tight jeans and Ugg-style boots. This is the area I believe that Sasha came from the underground, walking along with the information boards to her right. And the sighting was near to this paper chase outlet, and that's where she was last seen.
The witness is travelling through Waterloo 3 weeks after Sasha goes missing, when she thinks she recognises the runaway in the crowds.
We've just been to see our witness, and she's still of the opinion that the girl she saw is very similar to the picture in the advert from Missing in Care. So, you know, she's quite positive. The difficulty we have is how we confirm that it actually is Sasha. So what we need to do now is, from information she's given us, we can hopefully check through CCTV footage and identify the girl that she's pointing out to us. And hopefully, by viewing the CCTV footage, we can confirm whether or not it is Sasha.
The police are unable to identify Sasha from the station's CCTV, and the sighting remains unconfirmed. Despite several more media appeals, there's no news for months. Then, on February the 1st this year, the police find Sasha safe and well in Milton Keynes. Within hours, she's reunited with her mum in Scotland. 16 weeks after she's reported missing, she's found.
And it seems amazing that somebody can be found safe and well that long later as well.
It's really good, though, isn't it? We have stories like that. And it's great news that Sasha's been found. She's now back in Scotland with her mum.
So unless you've been there yourself, it must be really hard to understand what makes young people run away. Jessica Lee, she's been through it. She's with us this morning. Morning to you, Jessica. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. What made you run away?
I was living at home with my mum, and there was a lot of abuse and neglect going on. I was responsible for bringing up my younger brothers. So I ran away from all of that, and I was placed to go and live with my dad down in Torquay. I'd only ever met this guy once when I was 12, you know, it walked out when I was born. So I stayed with him for a year, but, you know, I was 14, hormones were all over the place. You know, why had this guy abandoned me when I was a baby? Why didn't he want anything to do with me? You know, he's got his new life. And also the stuff from my past with my mum, it all came flooding back, and in my head I just couldn't cope, and I needed to escape from it all, you know, to get away and to be able to deal with things on my own with no one interfering.
So you were just a child, though, so where did you go when you ran away then?
I went to stay with friends, you know, but there's only so many times you can stay with someone before it all gets too much and, you know, they need their family space back. You know, so I'd go and stay with one friend, I'd tell the police where I was staying, then I'd leave again and not tell anyone. And, you know, I stayed with strangers, you know, I was approaching people on the street, you know, have you got a spare bed for the night? You know,
That's
because I was that desperate.
As a parent, it's incredibly worrying to hear you say that, isn't it? Did you think at the time that you were doing anything that was dangerous, that you're putting yourself in danger?
No, I didn't think, you know, I just needed to get away from the family situation at the time. It all felt okay. You know, I look back now and I think, what was I doing? You know,
because these weren't sort of 1 night, 2 night, you know, runaways. We're talking about 3 months or so that you've gone. That's a long period of time. And you obviously at school age, I take. What did you do about that?
Well, I went when I could, but, you know, when you're missing from the police and no one knows where you are, you can't go to school. You know, my education did suffer, you know, but I was doing at the time what I thought was the best.
But of course, you've turned it all around now, haven't you? Tell us what you do now.
For the last 4 years, I've been campaigning with the Children's Society and NCH regarding the runaway situation. I've now set up and work for a runaways project in Derbyshire, you know, supporting young people and their families that are running away from home.
I mean, you've just explained really beautifully the reasons why you ran away, and they're very understandable. And presumably there are lots of other young people like you in those sort of situations. But where can they go? Where is a good place, safe place for them to go then?
I don't think any place is 100% safe. You know, they need to phone someone like Missing People or the Children's Society or all the other fantastic helplines that are there, you know, and then they can be advised on what's best. You know, even if you've known someone for a long time, you don't know what their true intentions are.
Of course, you're a mother now, aren't you?
I am.
So are you going to look at raising your child completely different to your own upbringing now?
Yeah, it's made me adamant that, you know, I want the best for my little boy, you know. I'd hate to think that in 14, 15 years he'd feel how I felt, you know, so my main concern now is giving him the best childhood.
So Jessica, we're really short of time, but very quickly, is there anything you could say to any of our young runaways that may be watching this now as to how they can get in touch?
You know, there's message home helplines that they can phone, you know, just to send a message home to tell the families that they are safe, you know, and for their advice and support.
Brilliant. Well, thanks ever so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's really, really good that you've managed to turn things around the way you have. Thank you. And remember, if you are a teenager missing from home, you can call that runaway helpline, and the number's on your screen now.
And if there's anything you'd like to tell us about your own experiences, their reunions, searches, you can contact us as well. Email us missing.live@bbc.co.uk, or you can write to us at Missing Live, PO Box 63814. That's London N11HF.
Now, today, 3 more people have been found, and there have been a number of sightings as a result of this programme. But here's a reminder of just some of the cases that still need your calls.
Yeah, 16-year-old Amy Fitzpatrick, she went missing on New Year's Day in Calahonda in Spain after babysitting for a friend. Her parents were on the programme just a few moments ago. We've had 6 calls already on her.
That's really good, actually. It's 13 years since Marcus Rigby disappeared. He vanished in March 1995. Despite an unconfirmed sighting in Southampton 7 years later, he's not been in contact with his family, and I understand calls are already coming in on him as well.
We've got 4 calls too on 57-year-old Robbie Smith. He hasn't been seen in almost 10 weeks, although he was captured on CCTV entering the flat where he lives. No one knows where he is right now.
And we're also getting a call or two are coming in on Danny Hall as well at last, which is fantastic. Now, if you can help in any way, please call Missing People. All calls are confidential, and they're waiting to hear from you now.
They are. On tomorrow's programme, we'll have updates on all our appeals, plus...
He's a funny, popular boy. So what happened after Damien left this chip shop after a night out with his mates?
And she always thought she's an only child, but Jones just found her 3 brothers and a sister. How about that? They'll be here in the studio with us, and we'd like to hear your stories about reunions as well.
And we've just got time to give you one quick reunion. June Moore wrote to tell us about her search for her mother's family. Her mum, who passed away at age 91, grew up in Bernardo's home. June eventually found out that her mum was one of 6 and had been making contact with them. She now says, "We find the extended family is massive." How her mum would have loved that. Oh, that's really nice, actually.
Thank you for those. That's all we have time for this morning. Thanks for all of your calls. They're important. Please keep them coming in.
We couldn't do it without your help, so many, many thanks.
We'll be back tomorrow at 9:15 for the final programme of this series. We will be back, though, next spring. Until tomorrow morning, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.